Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of Walkthrough, and this is going to be the third and final part in the painting tutorial. And in this part we're going to start off by going over how to reattach these stickers that we pulled off. And as you can see here, we've got our N64 information label, we've got the customer service tech support number for Nintendo, but as I mentioned in the first part, I managed to get this serial number off without destroying the label. The last two that I pulled off like this, I guess there were some other variables that must have just dried out the label or something like that, and they just came off in pieces. But this one actually came off with little effort and didn't damage the label, so rather than recreating it, I'm going to be able to just put the original back on. And to do that, I had thought of a few different methods. First I thought maybe I'll use some of this brush-on crazy glue here. And so basically you unscrew this cap and there's a brush on the end. But I didn't know how this would react to the painted surface, whether it would dissolve the paint or not. Plus it would just be kind of messy, and this stuff's gets all over the place. And plus, I mean, you have no room for error with this stuff at all. So I just kind of decided, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. And then I thought about using some spray glue. And this is actually what I use to attach labels to boxes when I'm shipping, is I use the spray glue, which is pretty good. And I thought, well, I don't know how this will react with the painted surface either, and whether it would be very adhesive or not. Plus also messy. So I decided against that as well. But I asked somebody that I know that does a hell of a lot more console painting than I do and does custom stuff, and you've seen me get their products before. He runs Rose Colored Gaming, and he suggested I try this product out, which is called Score Tape. And you can actually get this in a lot of different sizes and stuff like that. You can get it in rolls of tape. I decided to get it from Amazon, and I will leave a link down below in the description for these sheets, because it would just be easier. Usually people are going to use this with a die cutter to get what they want, but it's easy enough to use a pair of scissors for us people that don't have enough money to just go blowing on die cutters to do a couple of projects. So, but anyway. So how we're going to do this is, I already got this sheet out. This is actually a previously used sheet from doing the previous N64 basically. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually, let's take this for example. I'm just going to put this down, say right here. Oh, and it's not going to stick. It has lost so much adhesion, it's not going to stick to this even. But just basically what I want to do is get a general idea of the size of this label. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut it out. Set that to the side. Now, what I'm going to do, this side is actually easier to peel off the brown side. So I am going to peel it off and reveal the sticky, well, one of the sticky sides. This is basically double-sided tape. And take this sticker. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. I am so good at doing these tutorials. And just lay it down on here, making sure that, you know, obviously you have it on all edges here rather than so you have the sticker here on all sides. Now, to make sure this sticks, what I'm going to do here is grab some wax paper. And the reason I'm getting the wax paper is because this will not stick very well to it. It might stick to it, but it won't stick to it, you know, extremely well. And then basically what I'm going to do is stick it upside down. Then I'm going to get something heavy like this A+ certification book, because it's not useful for anything else other than a paperweight. Yeah, I won't get into that, but yeah, I'm going to use this A+ certification book as well as some printer paper to stick on top of it like this. And basically, I'm just doing that to weight it down so I can make sure that the double-sided tape and the sticker, you know, become one, bond together. And I'll probably let this sit for like an hour, just to be sure. But I'm going to do that after I have all of them done. So basically, I'm just going to set this to the side for now, and just repeat the process by getting these other two. Now, fine, don't stick. I can get a general idea of your size by just basically cutting this in half, cutting up this other piece here. Alright, so we've got our labels here upside down on the wax paper, and so I'm just going to go ahead and weigh them down and let them sit for about an hour, and I will be back and we'll go ahead and put these on the console. So I will see you in a moment. Alright, so here we've got our N64 all put back together and seemingly working well, except for one problem. The power button does not want to move, and so I thought I'd go ahead and show you something here. And I haven't screwed it back together yet. I am going to go ahead and pull it back apart and move the bottom part to the side here. And now, the problem is there's probably just too much material, such as paint, on the top that it's causing this to have trouble moving. See, like if I push these two sides in, and it will move pretty freely, even though, you know, it's in the same relative position. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the power button. And I'm going to get some sandpaper here, and I'm going to sand the sides here just to try to remove a little bit of material to try to make that gap a little bit bigger so that the power button will slide a little smoother. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be right back with the results. Alright everybody, welcome back. And after doing a little sanding there, helped a little bit but didn't quite get it where I wanted it to be. So I actually ended up using a Q-tip and some more of this synthetic grease here. It's come out to be pretty handy, but put it underneath the button here on top to try to get it to slide a little bit easier, and now it is moving a little more freely. Not completely as free as it would have, you know, from the factory, but I mean, you paint something, you're going to add thickness to it. It's just something you can't get around, but it is moving much more free, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. But let's go ahead and move the top to the side here, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get the bottom part here and show you something that really pisses me off, and I'm hoping you can see it in here. The paint has cracked, and this didn't happen with the other N64, which is why I'm very upset. I don't know if there's something wrong with this batch of paint that happened, but there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it would take me hours and hours and hours to sand that down to the bare plastic to try to repaint that. And it's really frustrating. I'm just glad that it happened in an inconspicuous area where the power supply is going to go, but my OCD, that really bugs me. That really pisses me off. And it happened on the underside here as well, on the top cover. And usually cracking like that will happen when you use too much paint. And I definitely did not use too much paint. And even worse, it happened on the controller as well. And I don't know if it's going to show up in the camera because I did my best to try to remove it, but it happened right here. And I sanded down as much as I could. I mean, I would have had to have sanded, you know, all the way down to bare plastic to completely get rid of it, and you can still kind of see it in the right light, and it just really bugs me. So, I mean, and the other thing that I'm noticing is, if I flip over the unit here, you can see I've already tried to reassemble this once, and I had to take it back apart because of the power button, but you can see right here, you can see where the paint chipped just a little bit when I barely even touched it with the edge of the game bit here. And so that tells me this paint is not sticking very good, and I mean, I just don't understand that because I prepped everything just as well as the other one, and you know, I'm still having problems. So I just wonder if it's a batch, this batch of paint isn't good, and Krylon's quality control just isn't there. So if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know if I would suggest using Krylon Fusion again. I would probably suggest going with using a primer coat and then using a coat of Rust-Oleum, going with the Rust-Oleum paints and clear coats, and using that instead of this Krylon Fusion, to be honest with you, because I'm just really not happy with how this has turned out. And it really upsets me because this is for somebody that I just really I respect the guy, and I hate to send him something like this, but I don't know what else to do beyond strip it down, and I would probably have to take it and have the thing blasted with walnut or something like that to get all of the paint off, and at this point I just don't even want to deal with it anymore. I'd probably just take it to like a car paint shop and have them do it. But I'm just really upset with some of these little small blemishes. I mean, those are really going to bug the shit out of me, and I really hope that I just hope that this is satisfactory for you, A. Crosby. I mean, like I said, this is free. I'm not charging you for this. Don't even try to pay me for it. Not that you would after seeing some problems like this, but I'm an amateur painter, and so this guide is just, it's what it is. It's an amateur guide from an amateur painter. This, I'd probably be better at it if I, you know, painted more and practiced more, but this is not something I really want to do. But enough of my rambling. Let's get on with this tutorial. And as you can see, I already stuck the rubber feet back on here. They actually went on quite nicely. The adhesive on them was still really good. If it's not, you can always just use the same method as I did with the information labels. So I'm actually going to get my book and my paper here and just get them off of our labels. And the first thing I'm going to do is lift off my information label for the control deck here. And now, what I'm going to do is get my scissors. I'm going to cut out around it, trying very hard not to cut the label. That way this thing is going to be exactly the same size as the label, but this takes a steady hand, and mine is not always steady, so since it says a round corner, we'll have to turn the label as we cut. Alright, so there we have our label. So basically now what we need to do is peel off the other side, which just a little bit tougher than before. There we go. Now, basically just line it up with where it needs to sit. Have a little room for error with this. Just don't stick it down completely until you have it positioned right. There we have it. Information label is back on. But the only evidence left is some little creases where it was pulled up. So this is kind of like a mylar substance on this one, so you may just want to be a little more careful than what I was with that one. Pulling it up, don't get it to too many angles and it won't bend like that. But let's move on to the serial number here. And there we have it. Serial number ready to attach. Just gonna get this backing off here. Alright, so same thing applies, just get it positioned properly. And just go ahead, press it down firmly onto the surface. And there we have it. The bottom looks like factory again. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move that out of the way. We're gonna move on to the top cover here. Now, when you're peeling these off of the wax paper, they do want to stick. That sticky side does want to stick to the wax paper, which is, it's not surprising. This stuff is pretty sticky. However, just think if you did that on, say, the table, like my tabletop here, imagine how much it would stick. So now this one's going to be a little bit easier because it's got square edges, no rounded edges to worry about. It's not as hard. Now, this is a little difficult because there's nowhere to locate it. It doesn't, like there's no indentation back here, so I just center it over the AV port here and just press down firmly. And there we go. We have our tech support number back in. Now there's one last one, and that is our N64 logo here. So I'm actually going to get rid of this excess here, and we're going to cut around it. Now, one thing I tried to do with this one was I wanted to polish it up because there's a lot of marks on this. And there generally tends to be on these N64 logos. They have marks and fine scratches and stuff like that. And unfortunately, I tested this out first on a shittier looking one that I had on one of my spares. Because I wanted to test out this method on these. And I have some plastic polish that I wanted to try. And fortunately, this seems to be really soft plastic, and it burned up so quick that it just hazed all over the logo here, so I didn't want to try it and ruin this N64 logo. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, it's not all junked out like mine is now for my spare, but that's okay. It's a spare, and it's used for parts, and it's not a part that I'm going to need because my N64 logo is pristine unless I do something stupid. But yeah, so I'm not too concerned about that. It was a lesson learned, which is pretty valuable. So that was a lot easier than the others. Okay, just peel it off. Just Just remember, you got this little notch in the bottom here, so just slide it into the notch. Push the logo in. There we have it. Got our logo back in. So now all I need to do is reassemble the console and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the console and we'll wrap this up here. So be right back. Alright everybody, welcome back. Got everything put together here, and as you can see, it's ready to be sent back to A. Crosby. And yeah, the controller he sent me, he actually said this joystick was pretty tight, and he wasn't kidding, which is pretty funny because the controller looked like ass. I mean, it was pretty dirty and beaten up, and I mean, he got it at Goodwill. I mean, that's what happens. The controller cord was also pretty chewed up, and the insulation had been torn away in a couple of spots and was exposed. But this has some new guts, so it's got a nice cord on it that has no tears in it, so that's all taken care of. Went ahead, and even though the joystick was pretty tight, I had it apart to paint it, so I went ahead and blew out what little dust was in there and lubed it up real good, so it should be good for some time to come. But yeah, and then we got our N64 all reassembled here with, got our information labels and our logo back on and everything, and it's all ready to go. And as I've told you, I have my misgivings with this project. I'm really frustrated, and I feel really bad because this is not indicative of my kind of work that I usually put into things. That, well, let's just say I fix computers, I modify computers, I repair computers, and I wouldn't send out anything less than perfect. But then again, I've been doing that for probably 17 years now, so just to say I'm an expert in doing that kind of stuff is an understatement. But I'm an amateur at painting things. I don't paint things very often, and so it just kind of frustrates me, the quality that this came out to, and the defects that are in here. Is there's a couple of things that got in the paint, something right there, you can see that there. There's a mark in the paint where I put the power button back in and out trying to get it to function properly. The cracks in the paint that showed up here on the controller, I mean, just little pieces of debris that got in the paint in spots, and I'm really upset about that, and I apologize, A. Crosby. I really hope that that you're satisfied with this, and especially the reason why I'm not charging you anything, and you better not try to send me any money for this. I'm happy to do it, and I just never wanted to charge you from the beginning because I'm not a professional. But you know, I hope you're satisfied with it, and if you want to see his reaction when he opens this thing up, head over to his channel. I'm sure he'll upload a video, and he won't sugarcoat it, people. He will tell it like it is. So you want to hear his reaction, head over there, and I'm sure it'll be there in a week or two. But thanks everybody for checking out this this walkthrough. As helpful as it can possibly be, coming from somebody who is not a professional painter, but hopefully it was helpful in some form or another. But next episode of Walkthrough, I am going to be uploading a video, actually, that was done by my best friend, who actually lives down by you, A. Crosby. He actually lives down in Arizona, and he has an interesting way for getting marker off of labels and getting marker off of cartridges that were methods I didn't know about, which was very surprising. So really cool to see this, and it probably will surprise a lot of you, but that is going to be on the next episode of Walkthrough, and look for that within the next week or so. But thanks for tuning in, guys. As usual, leave your comments down below, and I will see you guys with our next video. So see you later.